everybody, this is Mike Sandoval with MUSE TV, and we are here for finally, I got to see this documentary that I missed the first time, and it's going to be re-released, and it's Filmage, the story of the Descendants / all. We have Matt Riggle and Deedle Lacour. Hey, how's it going? Dude, this is I remember hearing about the documentary when it first came out, and I didn't get a chance to see it, and now I got the chance to see it the second time around, and oh my god, this documentary is awesome. This is the documentary I needed right now, to be honest.
Thank you. Yeah, dude, it's cool. It's nice. I mean, we shot it like we were just talking about this. We started shooting it like 10 years ago, you know, and then like went through the whole like 3 years of your life are now taken away and given to this movie, you know, and then like it's really cool to like revisit it and talk about it because like, yeah, it's still like inspiring to me, you know.
Yeah, especially since we've been in quarantine and there hasn't been any music. Haven't been able to go to a punk rock show in a year. It's 2019. It's like I needed this so bad because I'm a big fan of the Descendents, and to learn more about the band and everything from when I was a kid, when they started because I didn't get into them until high school. What was it like to get all the footage and to really just delve in and really tell the story of this amazing band?
It was incredible. I mean, it's, you know, that's the thing. Like Deedle and I played in a band together, and there's a lot of overlap in the bands that we like and our songwriting styles and stuff. But the kind of on the Venn diagram of the stuff he likes and the stuff I like, Descendents and all are like right there. They fill up the entire thing. Like he and I love that band equally, you know. And so yeah, it was like really in the beginning it was really weird, and you know, you're literally meeting your heroes, that whole thing, and for us it was a little intimidating because in the beginning there was some miscommunications, and it's actually in the movie where Bill Stevenson is like looking at the camera like what the fuck are you doing, like why is it this camera on my face kind of thing, you know. So it was a little weird in the beginning, and then it was amazing to just kind of get brought into and see so many shows with them and talk to them so deeply, and you know, yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, and I'll add that, like, you know, once we got more relationship with Bill, he gave us access to all of this archival stuff that no one had ever seen, because Bill was always kind of known to not let people like film at their shows. And even back in the day, he would get mad at people with handheld video cameras. And so, but stuff got out there over the years, especially the old days. There was barely anything, and so we got a lot of access to things that nobody. He literally like loaded our van with like 6 boxes of videotapes and old negative, old film photos, and it was amazing to go through all that stuff. It took quite a while to kind of catalog it and get stuff scanned and get all those old tapes digitized, and to this day it's still like if we can just hit play on one of those old shows or that old footage and just sit there and watch it and be entertained.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the one thing that when I was watching the documentary, and I remember me and my buddy Fredo, who was the drummer for Go Go Bordello, were talking about this when we were in a car one day because we both went to high school together. And we're like, Hermosa Beach and South Bay has produced some of the best musicians in history. I mean, we got Pennywise, we got Black Flag, we have Descendents. I mean, what is it about South Bay that's been able to create some of the amazing bands? Were you able to find that out through your documentary?
No, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know if I could put my finger on it specifically, other than, you know, it's a lot of really strong individuals, kind of very driven individuals that are like magnetically attract other really talented people. I would consider, you know, I mean, Greg Ginn and like Bill Stevenson, like those, you know, they're just so, they have an aura about them that, you know, so it's rooted in these individuals, you know. And then of course, if you're in that scene, then other bands are going to start glomming onto that too. So yeah, man, it's just like a everyone's feeding off each other, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of them would probably say that Greg Ginn from Black Flag and SST was a big part of why that, because he was very much kind of a perfectionist and made Black Flag practice, you know, every day for like a full work day worth of practice. And Bill really kind of took that and even pushed it further. But yeah, I think that culture that was there, and then they just all kind of probably, bounced off of each other, and it kept growing. Yeah, because like the Minutemen, Mike Watt, they were also from that area, and there's just so many great bands, yeah, from Hermosa and South Bay.
Yeah, I agree, and it's just friggin' awesome. The one thing I do like, because I was able to meet a lot of the guys, and I understand the whole thing. You meet your legends, you meet your heroes, and you're kind of like a little nervous, because I was when I first met them. And but Bill, for some reason, always came off like a very quiet person who was very like into what he did. And I love the fact that what you show in the documentary about how amazing of a drummer he was, the songs that he wrote, and how amazing the songs were. I mean, what was it like to delve into and just have that moment with him? Because there's a lot of hard moments that he talked about too.
Yeah, his songs are tough. I mean, his songs are as open as a heart can be, and that's why I love the music. It's to me, it's the lyrics and the honesty about it. So yeah, that was like, for me, I remember when we kind of started this, that's like what I wanted the movie to be originally, was like just them talking about their songs, because of that, I'm so interested. But then you turn out, their songs are their life, I mean, it's funny when we have all this music running through the film, and it's like, a lot of times it was unconscious, I think, but the songs almost are talking about what you're just seeing playing out. I mean, it's because they write so specifically about their lives, But I mean, to share like the moment we had with Bill, it was like a 3-hour interview, I believe, his main interview he did with us. And yeah, it was like, in the beginning, we're very nervous, and you just kind of, I think he realized like these guys, they're, these guys are, they care, and but yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that it shows in the documentary, definitely does. And to be was there ever a time where you just felt like, when he had to go, especially when he talks about his father and his personal life and his family, those were things that I had never heard about and never seen, but it makes you relate. As I get older, it helps me relate to this band even more, like all the troubles, the hard times and everything, like you already felt like they were one of you guys, because Milo Ackerman always was that nerdy guy who kind of like, he kind of felt he was you, like you could be him. And seeing Bill's reaction was, how was it to be in that room when he was talking about his father? Because to me, I'd be like, I was shedding a tear already while I was watching it. So I wasn't being in the room, just talking to him, having to delve that deep.
Yeah, we had to edit out all of our sobbing while he was talking. Yeah, no, it was kind of surreal, I remember when we asked him, like, do you want to talk? Because he was talking about the song that's mostly about his dad, the end of his dad's life, and it was like, would you want to talk about him? And because I knew that song, and then the song Egg Timer is an all song where he talked about his dad. That song, to me especially, was like, it was almost cryptic in a way, that song, because Bill's songs are usually so straightforward. Egg Timer is about his dad, and it's a little cryptic, and so I knew there's something there, and I just kind of wanted to give him the opportunity, and he kind of paused for a really long time. Remember that, Deedle? He kind of said,
we put some of it in the film, but it was longer than that. And at first he was like, I don't want to talk about my dad. I don't want to talk about my dad. And he basically said he wasn't going to do it. And then he thought about it for a minute, and he took a big breath, and he was like, I don't want to talk about my dad. And then he made the decision to do it. And then he went in and started talking. And so, yeah, I mean, it was very intense, and the room was very heavy. I mean, you could hear anything in that room. All of us like were just letting it happen. And Matt kind of conducted the interview, that portion. And yeah, I mean, it was I think at the end of the day, like all of it, I think when we were editing that scene together, I mean, all of us had our own moments of crying, and my wife and I have a saying that like everything in this world is daddy issues. So we all of us relate to that in some capacity. It could be your mother or whatever, a family, but that type of thing is just such a intense thing for everybody. And yeah, he really opened up.
Yeah. And another thing I like about this documentary is that you really, because like when the Descendants decided to go in and Bill decided to start All off of the Descendants, to see that story of All was really eye-opening to me because I didn't know much about All. I knew some of their songs and I always liked the songs, but it gave me a deeper appreciation to what he did with All and how the band developed and how everything went and the hard times and the good times, and it just gave me a deeper appreciation for that band and what the music was like. How was it, how much of your knowledge going into this did you know about All, and how awesome was it to find out new things about that other band?
I mean, for me, it's like All's the band that I kind of came into with. Like I heard All before I heard the Descendants, and so, and I love. I mean, I would probably say, I mean, this is a controversial thing. I would probably say All is my favorite band. You know, I mean, I love the Descendants, and I actually see it as the same band. Frankly, I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. But to me, All is just the perfect like band. You know, the musicians are amazing. The lyrics, they all write songs. They're all super strong songwriters, and you hear it, you know, but yet it gels into this like sound, you know. And so yeah, and that was important for us to tell the story of All, because it, you know, people kind of know Descendants. Like Milo says it best, and one time Bill told me, oh, you know, well, the difference between All and Descendants at the Descendants shows, the reason there's more people is because these people show up, you know. And he's just saying people with the, you know, the punk rockers are attached to that in a different way than they are All, you know. And so All has a much smaller audience, you know, but the music's the same. And frankly, like the music just progresses and progresses, and so All is a huge part of that progression. So yeah, it was great to be able to talk about that band that I love.
Mm-hmm. And Deedle, what was your experience with All? Well, your first time ever experiencing that?
I mean, I got into Descendants first, kind of the old Descendants, just from the whole punk rock thing, because they were kind of part of the punk rock, you know, history and catalog. But I got into All, I guess after Pummel came out, and so I loved All, and there was that one Descendants Everything Sucks record, but after that, you know, they continued making music, but it was only All, and those All records after Everything Sucks are incredible records. But like that whole thing where just nobody cares, just the diehard fans care about All, and so it's almost like those songs got, you know, neglected by the larger people that probably would love those songs if they were Descendants records, but they're All records. So yeah, I'm with Matt. I mean, like All's, you know, I consider them the same band because it really is the same music. It's just when you don't have that icon as your front man and that name and all that, it's just they could never, you know, get out from under the shadow of Descendants and Milo. And I think Milo feels really bad about that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the only person who's probably a bigger All fan than we are is Milo. I mean, Milo loves All, you know. He knows every song, you know what I'm saying? Like they'll play, Descendants play All songs sometimes, you know. It's because to them it is kind of the same thing. Oh, we'll play $1 Million or whatever, and you know, Milo absolutely loves that band. You know.
And that's the one thing I really love about this story, is that it really shows the friendship. Like some bands that you talk about, they wind up hating each other and they never talk to each other. They'll never see each other ever again. But like this band always kept their roots and kept their friendship, no matter what happened. The different pieces would change and stuff like that. But there was always that family of Descendants All. And that's what I loved, is that side, because you don't see that much in bands. What was it about showing that?
Yeah, I mean, because it truly is kind of like a family. It's like, because I mean, Bill told me one time that he's like, the guys in the band, like, we don't really socialize with each other. I mean, they have in later years because it's a kind of these reunion kind of shows, so it's a little more social. But they didn't socialize. They would practice like literally sometimes like twice a day. I mean, they were hardcore, but it was always about the music. And then they would kind of do their own thing. So it's kind of like a family in that we're riding in the van together to these, kind of like a family vacation or something. So you're, but, and they, of course, they had their ups and downs. I mean, they had their problems here and there. And with rotation of players, there's always some, there's friction. It's hard to live in a van, live in a van with somebody for months and months and months. And so, but yeah, so it's very evident those guys care so much. I mean, on a level way beyond social. Oh, he's my friend. It's like, no, we're like rooted in this music, sincerely.
Yeah, and that I'd say that's, in some ways, that's a band thing. When you're in the trenches with people you're in a band with and you play music with, there's a certain kind of friendship and bond you have. But then punk rock to me has even kind of more of a bond. For whatever reason, it's just not as driven by fame or for making money or those kinds of things. And then Descendents are kind of like the top of that pile, where it's I don't know. There's just such a they even call that whole confusing thing the family shrub or the family tree, because of all the branches and the different players and people that came and went. But now, kind of as they're older, I think by and large they're all very close and friends and stay in contact and check on each other. And so and that's very inspiring, as to see that kind of community within a band's. And the fans are like, I mean, they have those same type of fans. You go to these shows and people have been seeing each other for 30 years at shows, and they know each other. And it's always fun to be at a Descendents or All show, because there's always, afterwards, there's usually like 50 people end up somewhere at a coffee shop or at a pancake house or whatever. And usually the band is there, and it's a great community.
Yeah, I agree. Because as I've got, like I say, like as I've gotten older, and now that I'm closer to 50 than I am to 20, it's like I appreciate this music even more. And I love the point that you showed. Like, this band should have been bigger. Like, compared to what, like if they would have came out like with when Blink-182, Green Day, and Less Than Jake came out, they probably would have made so much friggin' money. But because of the times, like, it's like, but I think also too, that's what makes the band this band, is because of when they do.
And frankly, a lot of those bands you just listed, Blink-182, a lot of those bands, would they exist? Had the guys not, I think it's hard no on that, it's because
exactly.
it sucks to be the pioneer,
Exactly.
But yeah, it is hard, kind of.
Yeah, because like you look at back in the day, and I look back into rock history and punk rock history. You look at the Ramones and when they started, Descendents, Circle Jerks, Sex Pistols, and everything, and you see what it's become, and you see all that, and they've been able to live through generations and generations. So they've developed something really, really amazing. Yeah. And I think you show that very well with the Descendents and the All in this documentary. I think you guys did an amazing job.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it,
man. Yeah.
So, hey, just to wrap everything up, because I would love to get into Milo, but we don't have that much time to get into that part now. But everybody loves Milo Ackerman. We don't need to talk. Everybody knows what Milo Ackerman is all up to.
Yeah, that's why we put him on the cover.
Exactly. But how can people watch the documentary? How are we going to be able to get the MUSE TV people to come in? And because this is something they have to watch, especially if they love music.
I mean, go ahead, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice because Strike Back they're really pushing it out wide. So you can on the streaming services, I think, Tubi and Amazon Prime, and of course like iTunes. Like a lot of times I like to buy my films, so I get them on iTunes because they usually offer upgrades if it ever goes into 4K or whatever. But yeah, it should be anywhere that's streaming, and then it's certainly all of the video on demand like iTunes, and or if you use Google Store or Microsoft, Xbox or whatever, it's on all those places. And of course at filmagemovie.com, that's the site that we maintain. We continue to keep it available there, and links to all the places you can get it. And we also still have merch, cool t-shirts and movie posters and mugs. So yeah, and that supports the band as well. Like we have, a great partnership with the band on those things now. So it's great.
That's awesome. And do you have it? Are you working on anything else? So what can we see next?
Yeah, I've been working on a project with Scott Reynolds, one of the singers of All, that we shot during quarantine, actually. He wasn't masked, but yeah, so I shot like a show with him. So it's kind of like a concert. I'm calling it a concert film. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's in the works. That's awesome. Gonna be cool.
Yeah, and I've got I'm helping produce a documentary, a music doc on the band King's X. So probably about a year out on that one.
Cool. I'm looking forward to both of those because I'm a big music fan, and like I can't say it enough. You guys did an awesome job on this documentary, and it made me remind me why I love the Descendents so much, especially since I grew up a nerdy kid. So I always felt like that was the band when if you're a nerdy kid and you felt like an outsider, that was your band. And
you feel seen and heard by that band.
Exactly. and that's and you really showed in the documentary. So great work, guys. I'm gonna buy it because there's certain documentaries that I buy, and this is the one I'm gonna put my money down and buy when they re-release it and get it on iTunes. So thank you so much.
Perfect.
Really
awesome, man. Thanks, Michael.
No problem. And we'll see you next time at MUSE TV. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more interviews such as this, and go back into some of our band footage and band interviews that we've interviewed over the years. You'll really like them. See you soon.